Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
Hello everyone, welcome to Lukman IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 17th October 2021. Let us see which are the important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. Yes, so as it is Sunday's newspaper, we provide you recorded video. Okay, so yes, on Sunday's newspaper, Science and Technology page, and along with that the FAQ page, largely the important and relevant articles appear on those pages. First of all, we will try to have the overview of all these articles, then we will discuss them one by one in detail. First of all, mains related articles, role of BSF in border management. Okay, the context of this article is recently the Ministry of Home Affairs has come up with a new notification regarding the jurisdiction area of BSF in different states and bringing some uniformity regarding that jurisdiction area. Okay, so that's why it was in news. So we have to discuss this from GS3 paper security part. There is syllabus topic role of security forces in border management. Okay, so from that aspect we will try to know about role of BSF. Then on FAQ page, coal crisis. So yes, recently there are concerns raised by different states regarding the availability of coal with the coal-fired thermal power plants in different parts of the country. And yes, the factors which are responsible for such a shortage of coal in India, so we have to discuss that. Also, we have to discuss it from GS1 geography paper as well as we can say economy paper. Okay, resources and in economy energy crisis or energy aspect, energy security. Okay, now water management in India, there is interview with Mihir Shah. He is expert and also the chairman of the committee or the 11-member panel who is now going to frame new national water policy for India. Okay, so in that interview he is talking about the two important recommendations that the new panel is going to give regarding the water management in India. So yes, almost every year or let's say alternate year, UPC asks in GS1 paper about the water resources of India. In different manner the framing of the question changes, but it is about water management. So that's why we will try to take input here. Then there is one unique we can say project that was recently done in Sundarbans area where saline soil was reclaimed and the farming practices were continued after the cyclone Yas, which led to salinization of that soil. Okay, so this is good thing. This can be mentioned in GS1 geography paper whenever we, let's say the question is related to impact of cyclone and the way forward, mitigation, adaptation measures. So you can give the example, saline soil reclamation can be done through various we can say scientific methods. Then on magazine supplement, page number 6 and 7, good articles related to environment. First of all, one article talks about seaweeds. So application of these seaweeds, that is important for prelims examination. And then South Indian hedgehog or Madras hedgehog, bare-bellied hedgehog also called as. So yes, there is small article regarding that hedgehog also. This year prelims examination there was question about the hedgehog and their protection mechanism, how they roll up when let's say they face any kind of threat. And finally practice prelims MCQs on these current affairs. So first of all, BSF in the line of the defense with growing powers. Okay, so the context here is that recently jurisdiction of BSF in different states has been changed and there is some kind of uniformity brought under it. Okay, so yes, what are these changes? First of all, we will try to know about these recent changes itself. Let me tell you that in Gujarat earlier the BSF had jurisdiction from border, international border to up to 80 kilometers. Now this is reduced to 50 kilometers here. In Rajasthan it was already 50 kilometers. In Jammu and Kashmir now it is made 50 kilometers, and in Assam and West Bengal and Punjab also it is made 50 kilometer. Okay, so there is now the uniformity brought under this jurisdiction area from the border. Now let us understand the background here about BSF, its foundation and objective or mandate we can say. So foundation, it was founded in 1965 after India-Pakistan war. Up till that point, the border management was responsibility of state security forces or police forces, and which were very much inefficient in protecting our borders and border management we can say, be it in terms of insurgency, infiltration of the foreigners, and we can say also the smuggling of drugs and arms we can say. Okay, now since 1965 BSF is guarding the forces or borders with Pakistan. So yes, earlier we can say that the western border was already there, but now we can say that the Bangladesh is also there. So with Pakistan and Bangladesh, BSF is the responsible for border management. So which states simply with Pakistan? Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, and then Rajasthan and Gujarat, right? These 4 states are there, and with Bangladesh, Assam is there, and then there is Tripura is there, and on this side West Bengal is there, right? So in this manner the BSF is working. Now when we talk about, let's say, its objective or mandate, we will say that, or even in terms of functions, there are 3 important aspects involved here. First is that, let's say, prevention of trans-border crimes, such as smuggling of drugs, arms, all these things. Second, stopping entry of or stopping illegal entry or movement across the border of people, of foreign people. And third, creating a sense of security to people living in border areas, to the people living in border areas. So this was the purpose, major purpose we can say that, to come up with such border security force. Now its role is very important. The BSF played very important role in Bangladesh Liberation War 1971 and during the Kargil War 1999 also. So what kind of role it played? For example, it provided intelligence before itself the war broke out. Before that itself the intelligence was provided by the BSF force. Okay, second thing is that the interpretation of recordings of whatever the conversation that the Pakistan, let's say those terrorists or those infiltrators, their conversation was tapped, and that was, we can say, interpreted by the BSF forces, because that was in a very different local language there, and that's why the armed forces, they were not able to understand that. BSF came into help for that. The third thing, yes, obviously we can say that during the war time BSF plays important role of, we can say, recruiting porters from local area. This was also helpful in this war times. Then we can say that evacuation of civilians, refugee camps, maintaining refugee camps or prisoners of wars. Okay, so all these things are the important functions of BSF. Okay, now we have to understand the significance of this recent changes that are done. Okay, why government has made such changes? First of all, we should understand that the BSF does not have power of investigation. Okay, so it can only, it's in jurisdiction area, it can only search, it can carry out search operations, as well as whatever the, let's say, the cash or suppose drugs or even the arms, if they are smuggling, then they can be taken by these BSF, taken over by these BSF. Also within 24 hours they have to be, or those people who are detained, they have to be handed over to the local police, state police. Okay, this is what we have to understand, the we can say jurisdiction, powers and jurisdiction. Now with these changes there will be some kind of uniformity in its jurisdiction. Why? Because in different states a different jurisdiction was there. Like earlier in Gujarat 80 kilometers from the border, while in Punjab only 15 kilometers. So such kind of different let's say jurisdiction areas, there was lack of we can say that jurisdiction, or the powers of these BSF was curtailed in some state, and this has resulted into weak border management in that area. Now Anand Vora committee had earlier recommended, this committee had recommended that there should be only one security force responsible for internal security, and that's why earlier BSF was also posted in Naxalist area or during polls, general elections, or even in Jammu and Kashmir to deal with militancy, or in northeastern states for dealing with insurgency. However, after this recommendation of Anand Vora committee, later on the role of BSF was reduced inside the country and it was remained towards the border management. Okay, now there are some criticisms also of BSF. You should remember that criticism is related to human rights violations. Okay, so there are cases of false, we can say false cases against BSF officers, or there are cases of violence also. For example, there was in 2011 along Bangladesh border, one woman or girl was killed along the border. Let's say, suppose maybe she was trying to enter into the Indian side of boundary and border, and because of that the BSF officers fired on her. Body was hanging on the fences, and this was criticized not only in Bangladesh but also in India and all over the world. Okay, so from that thereafter the BSF was asked to not use lethal weapons in the densely populated border areas along the Bangladesh. Okay, so we have to understand that when the border management is being carried out, especially the challenges along the Bangladesh are different as compared to Pakistan. Along the Bangladesh, the concerns are related to cattle smugglers also. Cattle smuggling, human trafficking is very problematic along the Bangladesh, and to some extent they also resort to violence there. Okay, so that's why they require more powers there. BSF. This is the justification on BSF, on behalf of just BSF we can say. Okay, so in this manner the role played by BSF in the border management along the Pakistan border and Bangladesh border. Also you should be remembering all these security forces and which border, along with which foreign country the border they are guarding. Simply BSF is with Pakistan and Bangladesh, then there is Assam Rifle with Myanmar, and then there is ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Police Force, Border Police, ITBP. So it is with China, right? And then there is Sashastra Seema Bal, with Nepal and Bhutan. With Nepal and Bhutan. Okay. So this is basic for prelims examination. Right. Okay. So foundation batch we are going to learn internal security separately. In November month we are going to have that module. So in detail we are going to further learn about it. See the kind of question simply. Evaluate the role played by BSF and other security forces in border management of India. Simply you can write whatever the analysis we have done just now. What is the extent of India's coal crisis? Now this has been making news for quite a time now. Yes, the stock of coal held by thermal power plants has hit critically low levels. Some of the thermal power plants are running low on the coal resources, only 3 to 4 days reserves are remaining. Some of them are also of 1 day, and that's why some states are trying to have power shortages or trying to cut down their power supplies so as to store for near future. Okay, so this is the situation that is happening. Now how bad is the problem? Now how bad in terms of, we can say simply, most of these power plants, they are having 4 days of stocks. In general they are asked to keep 2 weeks of, let's say, coal reserves with them so as to ensure the continuity of this. Okay, along with that we should also understand that the production levels and imports, especially imports, have declined, production has remained stagnant. This is the situation, and suddenly after pandemic we know that the economic activities now regained their momentum, and because of that demand for electricity or power has increased, and because of that the production has not been in line with. Okay, so we can say that now the we'll try to discuss the reasons here, what caused this crisis here. First of all, the present problem or the reasons behind the crisis. So what are these reasons? First of all, we should understand that the domestic production is not matching up with demand. Okay, so it has stagnated in 2018, or we can say peaked in 2018, and after that there is stagnancy in production. Also low production happened in last year because of coronavirus, and we can understand that suddenly the production is not increasing to meet the demand. Second thing, we should understand that the global prices are very high at present. They are increasing for coal, also for, we can say, crude oil, along with that natural gases. Previously in last week we have discussed about the reasons for high prices of natural gas, especially in European region or European countries. This is the reason. Then we can also say that for the present level, the disruptions in the supply, or we can say connectivity, that is also problem, right? So that is resulting into lack of coal supply. You should remember that, or you should be knowing that which are the coal producing states and where the consumption is happening. So yes, in that previous lecture we discussed about the coal consumption, right? We had one India's map, and there we talked about the coal production that is happening. Largely the resources are located in central India and eastern states. Okay, so yes, the Jharia mines in we can say Jharkhand, and then the Raniganj in West Bengal, Talcher in Odisha, then Korba mines are there in Chhattisgarh, and Singareni in Telangana, right, and Singrauli in Madhya Pradesh, right. So this is how we should remember the major coal reserves, and southern states largely, we can say, import them from these states. Okay, so southern states are very much dependent for the coal from these states. So disruption in supply chain and connectivity, that is also major problem. Okay, along with that we can say that disruption in labor market because of COVID-19. In the domestic market, labor market. So because of COVID-19, those labor or we can say that workers working in the mining sector, there is reduction in the number, and because of that the production levels are not going up, right? At the same time, you can talk about the government policy. So government policy, yes, government policy at present is that it wants to reduce and completely stop import of coal by 2024. Along with that, it wants to shift towards more cleaner fuels, and that's why it is not promoting more production of coal since 2018. So this government policy, you can mention the reasons. However, the writer or in this article also says that there are deeper structural problems, and that are also contributing to coal crisis. Okay, so structural problems or long term problems, first we can say that the populist policy of keeping low cost power or power cost or electricity cost low, and that's why most of the discoms in different states, they are loss making discoms. Along with that, these discoms, they owe huge amount of payments to Coal India Limited, and that's why CIL is also not having more incentives for more production. Such kind of situation also deters the private investment in the coal production sector. Okay, so such kind of you should remember that deeper structural problems are also faced by the coal sector in India. Now what lies ahead, way forward, or we can say what we can expect in near future? Obviously we can say that the government has taken certain decisions, like for example, earlier there was 15 days cap, or let's say reserves are to be maintained by the thermal power plants. Now this limit has reduced to 10 days, so as to ensure the supply to different thermal power plants and in appropriate manner. Second thing we should remember that in near future the restrictions on imports, coal imports may be lifted in near future. However, we will say that the structural issues, they need to be addressed in future so as to have long term appropriate policy in the coal sector. Okay, so for that matter, the reforms in the earlier lecture, or we can say that the coal reforms in the power sector. Okay, so what kind of reforms are required in power sector, that we have already discussed. So you should remember what lies ahead, means what government is doing we can expect, and for common people in near future we can expect that the power shortage in some states. Okay, and that's why the blackouts may happen in some states. Those states largely dependent on electricity. Okay, so in this manner we should understand this topic. Now, shift focus to demand management of water. So yes, Mihir Shah, he is actually expert in the water management. So he was earlier the planning member commission. He was also part of National Water Policy formulation 2012, and now the new water policy, National Water Policy, is being formulated by the panel headed by him. Okay, so why do we need new national water policy? This question was asked to him, and he was saying that obviously we have to consider the impact of climate change and global warming and how it is impacting the rainfall in India. So rainfall pattern is changing, variability of rainfall is increasing, and because of that the water resources in India may face different kind of challenges. Therefore, it is being said that by 2030, 50% of demand of the water in India will not be met. This may be the situation in near future, and that's why we need to have the appropriate national water policy to address this challenge. Then two major recommendations of proposed national water policy are: shift focus from endlessly increasing supply of water towards measure for demand management. Yes, now what is demand management? we should understand that the demand comes from three important sectors: the water, first agriculture, second industry, and then domestic. Okay, so in agriculture sector, demand side management, how we can do this demand side management? Micro irrigation techniques, precision farming, low water intensive crop or crop diversity, or we can say diversing the cropping pattern. These are the measures mentioned by him. Directly use them in your answer. Second, industry. In industry also, we should try to reduce water consumption, and we can say that the focus must be on recycling of wastewater. That water should be used. Okay, the processes should be so designed that the least amount of water is consumed. Then in domestic sector, we can say that domestic consumption, whatever the non-potable water is required at the domestic level, there the waste, or we can say wastewater treated water, that water should be used. Okay, for different kind of household course as well as community aspects. So the wastewater treated or sewage water treated, that can be also used in terms of gardening purpose, or we can say that landscaping, different kind of purposes, like for washing, we can say automobiles, such kind of things. This is how the demand side management of water can be done. The second important aspect is shift in focus within supply side. So within supply side, the focus should not be on creating large dams. Now this is saturation. Already we know that the problems created by large dams. Rather, in supply side, the focus should shift from towards water harvesting structures, watershed management, or watershed management, and then we can say that in supply side, we can say conservation of traditional water storage structures, rejuvenation of traditional water storage structure. Like there are Bawlis or different kind of local traditional water storage structures are there in different parts of the country, especially in semi-arid and arid areas of the country. They should be rejuvenated, and here we know that the government scheme, that is Pradhan Mantri Sinchai Yojana, one of the component talks about this. Okay, so har khet ko pani, so supply demand side management in agriculture, so that can be done through the drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, precision farming, all these things. What policy may talk about water pricing? Economic services will be charged at the rate where O&M, that is operation and management cost, and parts of the capital cost would be the basis for water service fees, especially for industrial and commercial consumption. This is for industrial and commercial consumption of water. Then at the same time, concessional rates should be provided for vulnerable social sections, right? So this should be the approach. Now you have look at this question in 2018 GS1. The ideal solution for depleting groundwater resources in India is water harvesting system. So it talked about groundwater harvesting, water systems. So they are depleting in different parts of the country. In a similar manner, there was question regarding water resources of India. Okay, so try to have such kind of, let's say, whenever the way forward is asked, no, directly use this demand side water management. Even let's say focusing supply side in different aspects and water pricing policy. So in near future we can expect the national water policy to be released by the government. Okay. Saline soil reclamation works wonder in Sundarbans. Now this is the major impact of cyclone led storm surges in the coastal areas that results into saline water incursions in the fertile areas that renders the increase in soil salinity, and because of that the soils become infertile. Now there was one novel project, unique project of reclamation of soil salinity in Sundarban, and this has been successful. It was supported by Uttarayan Wildlife, and Nature Mates provided logistical support to the initiative. And further, the farmers were able to sow the crops, rice in that region, and the productivity was to some extent was same as compared to pre-cyclone level. Okay, so we can know that cyclone Yas in May 2021, how it affected West Bengal. So you should remember the impact of cyclone and cyclone surge, storm surges, and you should remember the way forward also. Such kind of innovative techniques can be used here. Okay, mitigation. Now applications of seaweed. So different applications of seaweed are already there, but what is seaweed? So seaweed are actually the sea plants, marine plants. They are macroalgae. They are macroalgae, we can say, not micro. Okay. Now they find different kind of applications, like in food industry already we know that seaweed products such as agar gel, which withstand high temperatures. It can be used as a stabilizer and thickener in pie fillings, icings and meringues. As it is tasteless, it does not interfere with flavor of the food. Okay. So in ice cream it is used to inhibit the crystallization of ice. Okay, so it is used in ice cream, agar gel. Then agar, the main ingredients of faluda and jigar thanda is seaweed product, seaweed based product. Then alginate, another seaweed extract used to restructure and reform food products such as chicken nuggets. As a binder and emulsifier, it helps meat retain its shape. Nuggets, we know that those packaged products are coming, right? Chicken nuggets, they are there. So alginate is being used here. It helps retain its moistness and freshness also. Now seaweeds are also being used as a fertilizers. It helps in, we can say that, early germination of seeds. Also it helps in acts as a bio enhancer and stimulate the internal growth of plants. This is good thing. Then there is medicinal use like anti-obesity tablets, anti-arthritis, anti-diabetic pills also. Also it is leading to women empowerment in Rameshwar, Tamil Nadu. Okay, so there the seaweed farms are there and women are actually working in this aspect. Fine. So further applications, like for example, can be used for bioremediation, bioindication, aquaculture, animal feed and fertilizers and soil conditioners. Okay. Then there are applications, biological applications and chemical transformation, like medicine is there, cosmetic industry also, and then there is food and edible items. Then there is bioengineering, biofuels, bioplastics, bio-nanotechnology, bioenergy. These are the applications. Every year UPSC is asking in prelims examination such kind of question related to we can say applications of these marine animals or whatever the sustainable and eco-friendly products are there, how they can be used, as well as it is marine resource, right? So its application, it is part of geography. Now South Indian hedgehog or Madras hedgehog or bare-bellied hedgehog. I believe that you still remember 2021 prelims examination question related to hedgehog, how it uses protection measure. Okay, so first of all we will try to know its habitat. Nocturnal species, they are nocturnal species, inhabits grasslands, pasture lands, open shrubs in 5 southern states, but largely now it is limited to Tamil Nadu. As a protection measure, it rolls up its body, tucking its head into its belly, resembling like sea urchin. Okay, so this is a protection measure. Then in the arid heat of summers, the species goes dormant, neither eating nor drinking for weeks. Also, they form three kinds of burrows for purpose like daytime refuge, summer retreat and nursery to rear young ones. What are the threats? Preferred terrain of soft soil was fast becoming cotton fields and mango groves in that region. Also, they are killed due to automobiles. They are not able to move fast like rats, other rodents. Okay. At the same time, we should know the IUCN status least concern and under Wildlife Protection Act 1972 Schedule 4 the protection. Now see what kind of question was asked by UPSC. Consider the following animals: hedgehog, marmot, pangolin. To reduce the chance of being captured by the predators, which of the above organisms rolls up and protects its vulnerable parts? So generally students know about the pangolin because they may have read during last 1 year pangolin was in news, and because of that the students may have read about this. But hedgehogs, they also have similar kind of protection measures. Like see here, the spines, they are exposed, it is rolling up, and then the spines of this hedgehog are exposed. The same is the case with the pangolin. However, the marmots are like rodent, they belong to rodent family. Okay, so they run away whenever they face threat, not rolling like this. Okay, so that's why the answer was 1 and 3 here. Fine. So we have to find such references in the newspapers whenever they are relevant to our examination here onwards. So what kind of let's say what should be answer to this question? You can attempt it. Application areas of seaweeds. Okay, so yes, medicine is there, then food industry, agar gel, fertilizers, yes, bio enhancers are there, biofuels also, animal feed also, and that's why all of them should be the answer. Fine. So in this manner we can take input for our both prelims as well as mains examination. Thank you.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.